Hello, grade 7. Today we're going to be covering chapter 3, lesson 3, the world's economics. How do people meet their wants and needs? As you know that people have certain wants and needs. Want something you want, but you can't live without it. But need is very essential to you and you cannot live without it. People meet their wants and needs by using the resources available in the society. We have actually two types of resources. We have the natural resources and the human resources. Natural resources that come from earth, such as soil, plants, and animals. Human resources means us, that come from humans, such as their work, skills, and talents. There is no need that everyone share. There is only actually one need that everyone share, which is that energy. Energy is a power to do work. So we all share the same need, which is energy, which is the power to do things. Energy resources are having two branches. We have the renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Renewable can be totally replaced and are always available, include water, trees, wind, and the sun. But the non-renewable resources cannot be totally replaced, and they include fossil fuels, oil, coal, and the natural gas. How can energy be both a want and a need at the same time? Actually, energy is not just a need. It is also sometimes used to power things that are needed, but not needed, but wanted. For example, if I'm going to use energy in order to power something I needed, for example, to cook food or whatever, this will be a need. But if I'm going to use the energy in order to make my mobile phone works, which is a want, it will be here as a source of want, not a need. There are not enough resources to fill both needs and wants. So we must make choices whether to use renewable or non-renewable resources by weighing the opportunity cost. So what's meant by opportunity cost? The opportunity cost is the value of what we must give up to get something. For example, how much money I'm going to pay in order to get something. The economic resources of a society. Societies make or produce goods and services. They also distribute them to people and decide how these goods and services are used. So the economic system tells how a society takes the ownership and distribution of economic resources. So the economic society count all the resources they have, and he has the ownership of them, and he decides what kind of distribution will be among the people in the same society. How many kinds do we have of economy? Actually, we have many different kinds of economy. We have the traditional economy, market economy, and the mixed economy. These are different types of economy, as you can see. Traditional economy, in this economy, resources are distributed mainly through families, such as farming and herding. So if we have a certain family, which their main work is farming, herding, or whatever, this is work family, you're going to be inheriting the same work, which is called traditional economy, because this type of economy is transported from generation to another generation. The market economy. Market economy is private businesses which own most means of production. So if our society is going to produce certain type of goods such as t-shirts or whatever made of cotton, private business own this, and the private business decide how much to produce and how much to distribute. But when they are making this decision, they have to look at sales and also to look at demands. So if this t-shirt is very popular among people, I look at people's demands, how much do they need, then I make a decision of how much I have to produce. This is also called capitalism. So capitalism, when we look at demands and when we control the distribution at the same time. What's meant by a mixed economy? Actually, mixed economy is another type of economy. Some parts of it may be owned by private businesses and some may be owned by the government. So the mixed economy has different types of ownership. It is partially owned by the government and by private businesses at the same time. But if you are talking about economies can be broken into parts such as land, labor, capital, and industry. So these are the main parts of the economy. Let's talk about them one by one. If we're going to talk about land, the land will, of course, include all the natural resources which provide the energy needed. If we're talking about labor, labor means the worker who are going to be paid money in order to work. So it is all paid worker. Capital is all human-made resources used to produce goods. So we have two different types of resources. We have the natural, which is land, and we have the capital, which is human-made resources. Industry is a type of business. Banking, retail, agriculture, and transportation are also types of industry. These are the main aspects of economy. How do we look at economic performance? How can I evaluate the economic performance of a country, whether it's working very good or in that track, or they are behind the track? We have many ways how to evaluate the economic performance. The first one is the gross domestic product, which is the GDP. This is the total dollar value of the final goods and services made in a country during a single year. So at the end of the year, I look how much money or how much actually dollars that these goods have made. I look at the total value of dollars and I assess whether it's a hit or successful economy or not. The second way is the standard of living. In another way of looking at the performance, this is the level at which person, group, or nation lives. It's measured by how well a person meets his or her needs. So I look at people who are living among the society and I look at their standard of living. Are they sufficient? Are they meeting their needs? They have enough money in order to buy whatever they want? This is another way of seeing whether the economy is successful in the country or not. Productivity. Productivity is a measurement of what is produced and what is required to produce it. So productivity means I look at the society and I find out whether I am producing all the goods I need or I'm still missing part of it. And at the same time, do I have all the materials in order to produce my needs or I don't have all of them? So these are the three main ways in order to evaluate economy. National economics can be classified by two types. We have developed countries and developing countries. Developed countries, they are industrialized and have a strong economy. But the developing countries are less industrialized and they have weak economy or between newly industrialized countries. So these are the main economies. We have developing, still working on themselves, or we have the already developed countries which has a very strong economy. Trade. What's meant by trade? Trade actually is the business of buying and selling. Countries trade when they send or export a product they make to another country, also to bring or import a product. Sometimes it causes extra cost to import a product. This extra cost is called tariff. So when we trade, sell or buy, import or export, sometimes when you get something from another country, you will have like an extra cost, which is called taxes or tariff. Why would the government want to limit the number of imports coming into a country? Why the government do this? Actually, there are several reasons behind this. Governments might look at to set limits on how goods can be imported. At the same time, governments add tariffs so people will buy products made in their own country. When a group of countries to decide to set few or no tariffs or limit, this is called free trade. Trade can help build economic growth. It can increase nations' income. On the other hand, it can cause jobs when a country imports something it doesn't need to make it. There are many economic organizations connected with trade. We have the World Trade Organization, WTO. We have the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, and the European Union. These are the main organizations which are related to trade. The first one, the World Trade Organization, WTO, helps regulate trade between nations. The World Bank provides financing, advice, and research. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, monitors economic developments and lends money to nations in need. And the last one, which is the European Union, group of European countries that have economic unit and currency. At the end, nations can produce their own goods or they can trade for them. However, it's important that they have all the natural resources they need to meet the needs of a society. When a country can do this, it is practicing sustainability. If you have all the natural resources in order to produce the goods you want. Sustain means to maintain the countries or maintaining the resources it needs. That's all for this lesson. Thank you very much and meet you in the next lesson.